African spirituality is a big part of our resistance package. If you look, for example, at what happened in Haiti, in Cuba, in Trinidad and Tobago, the Orishas maintained a connection with Igbo belief systems. So even though they outwardly converted to Catholicism and praised the saints, apparently, it was a cover-up for behind the scenes maintenance of awareness and worship of Olodumare, of Ogun, Oshun, Shango, Obatala, Yemaya, the goddess of the ocean, who guided our spirits across as we made that transition from Africa to the Caribbean, you know. She's called Yemoja in Brazil. And the maintenance of this belief system, even when you look in the South, in the South Carolinas, there's this commonality of maintaining this connection to Africa through that recognition that our beliefs were not just arrested and decimated rather, as the popular narrative says in the slavery experience. We actually had mechanisms of keeping the drum alive even when it was banned. You know, people still understood the messages that were being conveyed through that drumming, that talking drum. And when you look at Kumina in St. Thomas, for example, where Africans came the longest and the latest, that ability to still maintain that spirit possession practice to this day is a demonstration that intergenerationally we can still hold on to a sense of who we are under the most dire of circumstances. And Pocomania is a next fusion that shows us that, you know, interweaving of African beliefs in the Christian tradition and maintaining that African flavor. You know, Rastafari has come as an indigenous kind of perspective to show that, you know, you can intentionally also claim that your God and your King comes from Ethiopia and without apology make that assertion, in spite of the fact that in a colonial context people were charged for sedition and being insane and thrown into the madhouse for this kind of announcement. That's what Leonard Howell actually experienced as the first Rasta in Jamaica. So the fact that you can transcend your circumstances. I went to the Virgin Islands, for example, and this was pretty remarkable for me, that in spite of this transition into the Caribbean, people still brought the seeds of the baobab tree with them. You know, the baobab tree is a tree that once you plant it, it doesn't start bearing under 100 years. And then it remains bearing forever. And the fruit and the powder from the fruit that you get is very nourishing, very sustaining to the body. Now, people who were taken from the continent still brought those seeds with them. There were 25 trees of the baobab variety when I went there, and there was a woman who was a spiritual keeper of these trees because it demonstrated that connectivity, that sense of resistance, because these trees, when you look at them, they're so massive that when you hollow out the trunk, 40 of us could stand in that hollow to show you the strength and power of those trees. So they brought those trees to bear witness to the fact that we came from another place, another space, another time, and that our sense of resistance has connection to nature. You know, so the fact that you're able to make that move to you know, not just be in this temporal space, but to also be extra temporal, you know, metaphysical. It's very powerful, and the fact that our dance movements in the West can be connected, because that's what Lantonette Steins did with Lacadco. When people used to do butterfly, she went and compared how people danced in West Africa and with the butterfly that people spontaneously produced in Jamaica in the dancehall space, and the moves were the same. And when I see how the Anansi stories that we tell in Jamaica are the same Anansi stories in Suriname, in Ghana, and we say poto poto and chaka chaka, we even maintain some of the language patterns. We haven't entirely lost it. And what we need to do is make more efforts, especially through learning a language, to make the connection. Because when I learned Swahili, then I was able to open doors to understand what people were saying on the other side. And I think, you know, for the next generation's sake, we have to open back those doors.